So today we have a pretty, honestly, one of my favorite things to talk about, and that's discipline. So what's the deal with that here, guys? What are we doing?
So Jocko Willink, this is a quote that I've heard from Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL guy, and he talks about discipline equaling freedom. And I didn't realize how important this was until, I don't know, a couple, 3 years ago. I started to transition a little bit as far as my discipline goes and started to understand I can't just have this commitment issue. I can't just be loosey goosey all the time. And I just felt like I was always going to miss that fun if I committed to things. And now that I'm starting to incorporate discipline into my life, I'm realizing that, yeah, it's that delayed gratification. It's that discipline that we put in that allows us, and which ties into our sales process. It's you discipline yourself to put in the effort to do the role playing with our Shinfu, our sales process, and you engage on the outside of that or the other side of that. It really is freedom, and you get to choose how you want to do it. And it's Steve, I think it's your phrase is, for the last 30 years or so, you've done the things that other people didn't want to do, and now you're on the other side of freedom.
Yeah, there's certainly a certain amount of discipline. Well, let's just break it down. Really, this is no different than the professional athletes. The guy that kicks those field goals to win the Super Bowl, or the guys that hits a jump shot to win the NBA championship, or Mr. October in baseball. All these people, all these great athletes, they keep doing the same mundane things over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over and over until they're. And business is the same thing. It's who wants to do free throws? Who wants to go to batting practice? Who wants to kick 1,000 field goals all week long at different ranges and different environments? It's boring. No one wants to do that. Who wants to enter? Who wants to do role plays? Who wants to do the crap you're supposed to be doing? And that's the discipline we're talking about. We all want the glory, but we don't want to do what it takes to get the glory. That's the real bottom line here. And you're talking about me and my 40 years. I ate 40 years. Yeah, I use the word eat, but it's just doing the crap that you have to do each and every day. So at the end, you have your glory days. But if you don't do the work, the discipline you're talking about, the wake up and grind every day, you are.
Tom, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. Well, I think when people hear discipline, they think of it as a big scary word, and so I think if we just think of getting in shape here for a second, discipline doesn't need to be this terrible, hard, uncomfortable process of something. It could be as simple as, hey, I'm gonna be disciplined about burning more calories than I bring in each day. Okay, and so it could be that simple, or it could be, a couple of our Contractor Sales Academy members a couple of years ago at our event at Steve's house, they decided they were going to put $100 a week away, and they just kept showing up. And $100 a week in the size business they have, honestly, wasn't crap. It wasn't uncomfortable. Okay, it wasn't going to change their lives for the negative by missing that money. And at the end of the first year, guys, you remember, I think at 100 a week, you'd have 5,200. I think they had like 25 grand, because that habit, that discipline, just chipping away at it, you get hungrier and hungrier for the success that you're having. So there's a quote that I've heard a while ago, and I forget who said it, but I love this. It says the only discipline is the refining fire by which talent becomes ability. So how many of us are talented at something? How many of us have a skill? Yet because we don't embrace the day-to-day, boring, mundane bull, we never realize our full potential of our ability. Okay, like I'm wired for things, and Derek and Steve, you guys are all wired for certain things. We all have a natural bent towards something. All right. And so whatever that thing is, without day in, day out discipline. And I'm talking like, let's just go really easy here, guys, for 1 second. Say you want to learn guitar. I knew a guy that became a master guitar player by practicing scales for 15 minutes a day. That's all he had. And that's all he did is every day he'd find 15 minutes, usually, you know, before he went to bed at night. He'd set his metronome, set his timer, and play, and then go to bed. Okay, but he kept showing up over and over and over. So I want to encourage people not to think of discipline as this, you know, that's not what we're talking about here. This is just developing the habits that are going to take you to the target that you've painted on the wall.
I heard one thing you said, and it was, you talked about working out. And Steve and I talked a little bit about this, and Tom, I'm sure we have, but I think about being an athlete in your business as well.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from the free throws and the field goals and the you know, even with guitarists, and, you know, well, for me, I'm down 27 pounds, and it's being in front of this group. I can't be the fat guy anymore. But the byproduct of that is me eating better and exercising more consistently. If I'm not all sluggish because I ate a bunch of bullshit, I feel like making that sales call. I feel like going and doing that site visit. So there's also that side of the discipline of your diet and your exercise to be an athlete in your business, so that you actually have the energy to show up. And so what's the freedom there? I don't like eating super clean. I really don't. But when I get done, like case in point, and this is not that I'm eating like super healthy, but I stopped into Wendy's real quick because I had to go do a consult. I asked for a cheeseburger wrap, but then not the bread and not doing the frosty that I wanted and not doing the soda and not doing the extra large fries. I feel fine. I'm able to show up on this podcast. I'm not sluggish. I don't need a nap. I'm actually focused. So that's the delayed gratification. That discipline has given me the freedom right now. I don't feel bloated. I feel fine, and I can show up for you guys. So it's even that stuff. We have to be disciplined in our ways. We have to be an athlete in our business. I think that's what some people forget. You got to be in shape to make money.
There's a book called The Millionaire Next Door. It's 25 years old. And basically, the average millionaire in the United States of America, they weren't the Bill Gateses of the world. These were the people with regular jobs, the school teachers that lived for 25, 30 years below their means. Every year, if you only make 40 grand or 60 grand a year, then you live on less than that. And every single week you put away, like Tom was saying, you put $100 away, $100 away, $100 away. You match your 401k. I mean, you put that stuff away, your profit sharing, and you do that for 30 years. And you don't buy a brand new car. Maybe you buy a car that's 2 years old. You know, you buy below your means, whatever that means to you, but you do that consistently in 30 years, and then boom, you'll get to wake up one day and have what we all call your day of freedom. And that's the day that you get to wake up and do what the hell you want to do, not what you have to do. And you don't get that instantly overnight. You get that over a long period of time, doing the little things, having the compound effect kick in, like compound interest, for instance, and over time, you'll be rewarded. But right now, I can't even tell you how many Americans are just screwed because they wanted instant gratification their entire life. It's nothing different than if you take it back to your business. We all started with these receipts we put in a shoebox and give the shoebox to the accountant at the end of the year, and we're hoping like hell the accountant can make sense out of it. We can't even make sense out of it because we didn't have the discipline to do something with that receipt when it came due in January, February, March, April, May, and we think we're just going to hand that box off to the accountant and he's going to make us make sense of it and make us rich. And it doesn't work that way. Every step along the way, you have to have small points of discipline and stick with it. And those that stick with it are handsomely rewarded at the end of this journey. Those that don't are screwed. Which camp are you in?
So I just posted in for those listening to the podcast, our Contractor Sales Academy weekly webinar is live on this call right now, and there's a chat box. So I posted in the chat box here, I just said, what area of business do you struggle the most with discipline? And I want to pick one of these things here because, guys, I want to break this down for people, just how the three of us think about how we would address this thing. And I guess I'll go first. That'll give you guys some time to think, because I know I'm hijacking this here. But like one of the things here that somebody said, I'll just go with the last one. Gary says follow-ups. I struggle with making follow-up calls or following up on leads or whatever that might be. So the thing I want to share with this, if we just take that with anything that you are struggling with in your business to be disciplined on, you have to be crystal clear as to why this is important. First of all, if you can't explain why it's important to do follow-ups, why it's important to take the time to make this a part of your day or part of your week, then you're going to have a really hard time doing it. So Steve, I know you've undergone knee surgery recently and some, and you were unable to do some stuff. You made some changes with diet and alcohol, and I made some changes with diet and alcohol. And Derek, I know you're losing weight. We all have a why with those things, and I have several whys. One of my whys is I want to live long enough to see my grandkids. All right. I want to be the type of guy that when I'm 75, 80 years old, I could still go hike and some things like that. I limit my alcohol because, I'm on the wagon now, but I limit my alcohol right now because my why is my mind is so much more clear and I am way more dialed in and I'm unstoppable when there's nothing in my way keeping me from that. So I have all these whys, and I'm not going to bore everybody with, but guys, I just want you to share. So let's just say follow up on leads, right? Follow up on leads. For me, the first thing that comes to mind, I think it was Gary here, right? Dude, you got to have a why. Why the f is it important that you follow up with leads? I'll tell you why. I'll give you a why right now. Then you, Derek and Steve, you weigh in here, how we give him some clarity here. If you don't follow up with leads, a few things happen. Number one, whatever time and money you spent into getting the damn phone to ring, you just pissed away. First of all, you might as well have taken that money and literally just gone and gambled it away or something, or handed it to a homeless guy, whatever amount of money that is. So if it costs you $250 a lead in your company or whatever, you are wasting that if you're not following up and treating these people like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that you took the time to choose my company to pick the phone up with. The second thing is, if you don't follow up with leads, then, well, here, pop quiz for the group. What are you not going to have, everybody? If you don't follow up with leads, let me see it in the chat box. What are you going to follow? Boom, Jason's the first guy. Sales, work. That's how it works. All right, what are your guys' thoughts on this whole thing with following up as far as making it a point of discipline here?
Well, Derek, I'll jump in here. So Tom brought up this knee operation, and there's two things I love to do in life, and it's my only two forms of activity, and I do them every day, which is hiking and dancing. And now, because I got this knee operation now 5 weeks in, I can't do either. So it's gotten taken away from me. So the amount of hunger I had to get back to those two things is tenfold what it ever would have been had it never been taken away from me. Think about exactly what Tom just says. Y'all are spending a lot of time, energy, and effort to get your phone to ring. That's an honor to have your freaking phone ring. What if it all got taken away? What if it didn't ring? And it took a whole month for someone to call you to even see if they would work with you. How would you answer the phone now? With a lot more gratitude than you're probably answering right now. See, most of us actually view the phone ringing as a pain in our ass. I bet you that's how you look at it. This goddamn phone, these pesky customers, I can't work and answer my phone. What the hell's the matter with you? This is step number 2. 1 is marketing, 2 is get the phone to ring. 3 is now learning how to talk to these people so you get work, so you get money, so you get your life. This is an integral step, an important stepping stone. This is like step 2 in a goddamn math problem. If you skip step 2 in a math problem, what does that do to the answer at the end? It makes it all wrong. And you're looking at step 2 like it's a pain in your ass. Step 2 is a building block to your day of freedom. Don't you see that?